We live in a world where every day there's a new allegation. Bill Cosby was just released from prison earlier this week. Supreme Court in Pennsylvania overturned his conviction because his rights to due process were violated. We used to live in a country where you were presumed innocent until proven guilty. In 2021, it's the opposite. You were presumed guilty until you prove your innocence. All it takes is one allegation, and your life, your reputation is ruined, irreparably damaged. Look at what happened 15 years ago with the Duke lacrosse players. A woman accused them of sexual assault. The media jumped all over the story, assumed that the Duke lacrosse players were guilty. Then it turns out she just made the whole thing up. Same thing happened with the Central Park Five in New York City back in the late 80s. Those guys, 10, 11 years later, after they were sitting in prison, were found to be innocent. It's important to believe victims of sexual assault because otherwise no one would come forward. But there's a fine line to it too. People are spiteful. There are people who will make up allegations just to get revenge on someone they feel has wronged them. It's the same thing with accusations of racism. In 2021, it seems like everything, everyone, every institution is racist. The word has been used so much, many times in situations where it's just not true, that the word racist has lost a lot of its impact. I bring all this up today because of Eugene Chung. Any of you guys ever heard of him before? I'm a diehard NFL guy. I hadn't heard of him until yesterday. Eugene Chung played in the NFL in the mid-90s. After his playing career, he coached in Philadelphia and Kansas City. He was being interviewed for a coaching position earlier this year, and during the interview, he claims that he was told by the person interviewing him that he wasn't the right kind of minority. Now, if this had happened 25 years ago, I might be more inclined to believe it, take it at face value, but in the social and political climate that we live in today, I just find it hard to believe that an NFL team or an NFL general manager would make a statement like this, even in private, because you just never know when you're being recorded. But like I said, it's important to believe people when they make allegations as serious as this, so let's take Eugene Chung at his word. He went public with this allegation. Now, I don't know if he took it to the NFL front office directly, but he did tell the Boston Globe. Either way, the allegation, it became public and it made it to the NFL front office. Naturally, they begin an investigation. They try to figure out what the hell's going on here. Because if this happened, the NFL has to put a stop to it. So the NFL interviews Eugene Chung, and he stonewalls the investigation. He refuses to name the person that told him that he wasn't the right kind of minority. He said that he would take this statement, this information, to the grave with him. Here is a direct quote from Eugene Chung. Quote, "I'm not looking to shame anybody. I'm not looking to call anyone out or name names. What good comes of that? I really don't think he was saying it in a discriminatory or malicious way. It was matter of fact. With everything that's going on in this country and in the world, I have stayed quiet and I've always kept my head down. That was what I was taught by my father who immigrated here. He's like, do your work as best you can. Stay quiet. Don't cause any trouble. I don't feel like I'm causing trouble. I'm just bringing information to light," end quote. Wait a second. You are causing trouble. You can't make an allegation like this, then decide that it's not worth looking into. This is like the kid on the playground that throws the rock at you and then hides his hand. Why would you make an allegation like this in the first place if you're not going to follow through with it? Now, on one hand, I can kind of understand his hesitancy to come forward. There's no coaches union in the NFL. We all know the NFL does not like troublemakers. One way to quickly get blackballed from the NFL, start causing problems. Just look at Colin Kaepernick as an example of that. He brought a lot of unwanted attention to the NFL when he started kneeling for the national anthem. Ratings declined double digits. The league felt that Colin Kaepernick was just too much trouble, and he hasn't stepped foot on an NFL field in 5 years. So In a way, I can understand Eugene Chung and his hesitancy. But if that's the case, then why go public with this allegation in the first place? You knew if the NFL found out that they were going to look into this. Now, maybe Eugene Chung didn't think that the person he told in the media would expose the story. Now, that would be a naive way to look at things, but maybe that's the case. Eugene Chung knows the NFL has a reputation of being racist. Now, I don't think it's a fair reputation. Maybe the league had racist tendencies decades ago, but I don't believe that to be the case in 2021. Either way, the league still has that reputation today. Now, I've said this 1,000 times. All NFL teams care about is, can you help us win? That's it. They don't give a damn about your race. All they care about is winning. The NFL is the most competitive league in America. Every game matters. It's the only league where every play matters. With the Boston Globe releasing the story, the natural assumption would be that someone in the New England Patriots organization is the one being accused of racism. The Patriots, who had no issue drafting Eugene Chung back in the 90s. The Patriots, who also have Patrick Chung on their roster. The Patriots, who gave Cam Newton a second chance in the NFL when very few teams were interested. I don't want to call Eugene Chung a liar. I wasn't in the room when this supposedly happened. But this does not look good for him. If you're going to make an allegation as serious as calling someone or an organization a racist, you better be prepared to stand by your story. Because right now, it looks like Eugene Chung is trying to get sympathy. It looks like he's trying to use sympathy to get another chance in the NFL. That's just the optics of the situation. He hasn't coached in the league since 2019. Now, I don't know if he's had other interviews, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of NFL teams with interest. Teams aren't knocking down his door to get him to coach their offensive line. Another problem I have with this story is certain media outlets assuming that it's true without any facts to back it up. Not all media outlets, though. I mean, NBC Sports, they weren't too kind to Eugene Chung in an article they posted back in May when the allegation initially surfaced. But you can always depend on the woke undefeated to jump all over an allegation of racism, even if it could be unfounded. The undefeated treated Eugene Chung like a victim, which is typical. But did they ever stop to think that maybe, just maybe, he could be making the whole thing up? Eugene Chung has had a career in the NFL that has spanned 3 decades. Now, I'm sure at some point he has experienced racism. But we all experience racism at some point in our lives. Yes, even us white people. I know that's hard to believe for some, but yes, even white people experience racism at some point in their life. But you can't tell me that a person who's had a nearly 30-year career in the NFL is being held back by the NFL because of his race. I don't know what happened. Eugene Chung could be telling the truth. This could have really happened to him recently. I just find it hard to believe. The NFL has always been accused of holding back African Americans. Now, all of a sudden, they're being accused of favoring African Americans? Just like that. Just like that. A league who supposedly holds back black people suddenly favors black people? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know much about Eugene Chung, but judging off everything that I've read about him recently, he seems like a nice and well-respected guy in NFL circles, which is why I find it kind of puzzling that no one has come to his defense on this. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm confused what to think about this situation. The bottom line is, though, you can't go public with an accusation like this and immediately backtrack when an investigation is launched. It just makes you look inauthentic. All right, what do you guys think? Do you believe Eugene Chung? Did this really happen? Do you think a member of an NFL team in 2021 said something like this to him in an interview? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.